Hi everyone, this is Holly from Hot Humble Pie. Welcome to my channel if you're new, and a big warm hello to my subscribers. I love you guys. Well, today we are doing some awesome DIYs using Dollar Tree wooden boxes. And as always, I hope you enjoy the show. So these are those Dollar Tree trays with the hearts on the end. I know a lot of you are always wondering what we can do with these, and I had a great idea. So I'm going to go ahead and take some wood glue and some hot glue and glue 3 of these trays together. I did use a clamp. Now the only problem when I use the clamp, because these trays are not perfect, they're warped a little bit, you know, they're not all the same size. They're close enough, but when I pressed the clamp really tight, it kind of put a little bit of a gap in between the trays. So we're going to come up with a solution here in just a minute. You can see it, right? See how it's kind of like tight, but it's bent upwards, and I'm bending it down right now on the left side, kind of pulling it down, because I definitely am one of those people that I will notice if the tray, the whole unit or whatever, isn't straight. So in order to make it straight, I had to sacrifice a little bit of a gap. You can see it right there. So this is going to be the back side, and I'm just securing it with some craft sticks. And on the front, I wanted it to have more character, and not only will it have more character, I'm going to go ahead and add some detail here with craft sticks so that it covers the seams, particularly the one that has the little gap now. So we're just using my new saw. I love this saw. For those of you that are interested, I get a lot of questions about this saw. It's down below in my description box. It's one of the links to Amazon. It's great. It's made crafting a lot easier. It just goes really fast now. But as you can imagine, I craft a lot. If you don't craft a lot, that isn't necessary. But if you enjoy crafting, that is a really great, put it on your Christmas list. So I went ahead and I cut the craft sticks down, and I'm just doing some fine tuning right now with sanding to make sure there's no splinters, because these trays do have a lot of rough edges and splinters, so you do have to give them a good sand. And we're just going to use some wood glue and some hot glue and glue the craft sticks over each one of those ends. Hopefully you can tell what a big difference that made, and now the wood is all straight. And I gave it a sand. It left some gray behind. I didn't know why it did that. It never does that, but I didn't worry about it because we're going to stain this. So I'm using some antique wax, and to make it a little bit more like a dark walnut, we're going to add a little bit of black paint, and then I'm going to add a little bit of water. I don't have exact measurements for this, but it's almost kind of foolproof. So hopefully you could see what I did by either. That's an applesauce cup. There was about an 1/8 inch of wax in there, and then I maybe put like a teaspoon of black in there. And you can always add more. Go slow at first, just so that you don't make it too dark. But I even had to make some more of this, and it wasn't an exact match, but it still matched, if that makes sense. So it's, don't be nervous, just go ahead and give it a try. So at first I took a baby wipe and I was staining it, and then I decided it was easier to use the brush, slap it on there, and then use the baby wipe to kind of smear it around, and you just kind of go with how the wood feels. I noticed when the wood was really rough and really difficult and it was tearing up the wipe, I used the brush. That was easier. And then for the smooth parts, I stuck with the baby wipe. So we're just going to give this whole piece a stain, both on the sides, the front, and the back. So then I tried to stain some of the areas on the trays here, and when the Dollar Tree glues them together, or the factory does, that they order from, they do get glue on the seams, and that does not take a stain. So the way you solve that is you have to use paint. I just took some nutmeg brown from Apple Barrel Paint and some black paint. See, I'm showing you right there. That would not stain because it had like the adhesive on there. And then that was a perfect match just to touch it up, and I went all over this wherever I saw that happening. Anywhere where there was wood left behind, I just took a little brush, took my time, and covered it all up. So I just did that by eye. I felt like nutmeg brown with black would be a identical match, and I got really lucky with that. It was. So next we're taking the nautical rope from the Dollar Tree. I just measured out 2 even loops, and then I'm twisting the top with some smaller twine from Walmart. It's not the small twine from Dollar Tree. It's a little bit bigger than that. It's from Walmart. Also a really good deal. And I just tucked the loops underneath, and we're gonna lift this baby up. Now I did use wood glue. For those of you that are not familiar with wood glue holds as good as nails. So you can use this as a decorative floating shelf right there for decorations. That looks really, really pretty. But if you're me, I'm gonna use it to hold some toilet paper, and I'll show you a photo of that at the end. And if you haven't yet subscribed to my channel, I'd love it if you click that button. I just want to take a quick minute here to say thank you to all of my friends here on YouTube who have sent in and shared their crafting projects with me. I've shared them up on my Pinterest board. I'm showing them to you here now. But the one thing that I have felt like it's been missing with this is that we cannot interact with each other very well. You kind of post the picture and it's over. You can't talk to each other. You can't ask questions. I can't talk to you very well here. So it was suggested to me that I open up a Facebook page, and I went ahead and I just did that yesterday. Look at that. It's so sad. That's so sad. I only have 2 followers. It's my good friend Dee, and probably my husband. But anyway, I'm showing you here on YouTube where the Facebook page link is. If you can click it, like the page, follow the page, share the page, and let's start doing it over there. That's where I'm going to be taking photos now from you guys. Actually, you'll be able to post it yourself. You should. I'm going to set it up so you can post it yourself. This is going to be so much fun. Anyway, head on over there and let's get this party going. For this one, we're going to use 4 of these Dollar Tree wood boxes and these 2 arrows from the Dollar Tree. Now this is definitely an inspired craft where I saw it somewhere. I'm not sure where I saw it. Knowing me, it's probably Pinterest, but it was last year. So I didn't take a screenshot. I just remembered, oh, those arrows work for that. So that's a great idea. So whoever did that, if you guys know the original creator for this, leave a comment down below. I will give them a shout out on a pinned comment at the top of the comment thread. But for now, and by the way, that's my table shaking. That is not the camera. The camera's actually on a shelf that is attached to the wall. Sorry about that. But I just went ahead and pulled that twine out, removed the staples, sanded it, and now we're doing the same exact thing. You guys know the drill. We are just taking wood glue and some hot glue, and we're gluing them together in sets of 2. I'm just taking off the stickers, and they come off super easy, by the way, and doing wood glue on the edges and just a tiny bit of hot glue right where there it is, right there at the point, just to tack it down literally, because you do have that opening on the side, so you don't have a lot of freedom where you can put the hot glue, but you get it in there just so you can keep moving. Actually, if you guys have clamps, you don't need the hot glue if you're not filming. It's only because I have to keep moving, so I have to be very, very creative how to get everything to stay together. But anyway, this worked. Now the top shelf was a little more tricky. I went with just the wet glue on the sides and used the clamps because I have, like I said before in the first DIY, I have to have it even and straight. So once it was even and straight, I just did a super thin ribbon of hot glue underneath like a little shelf, and that just held it up, and then the clamps held it. So here at the Dollar General, they have these awesome $1 wood stakes. I think you might be able to get them at Walmart, but honestly, don't quote me on how much those are at Walmart. I don't know, but I've heard people say they can find them there sometimes. So I grabbed them for crafting, and here I'm just measuring it out because I felt like the top of this needed some character, and I also wanted it for practical purposes so that I could lift it. And here I am again using that saw. So if you do get this saw and you cut these sticks or any kind of garden stake, you'll see me here go first. I go one way and then I turn it around because the blade isn't actually deep enough to get the whole entire wood piece. You just have to flip it over and go backwards, and boom, you're all done, and it works brilliantly. I'm sanding it now to get the pen mark off. I just glued this on the top, and instead of just making it square because that didn't really look quite right, I went where I turned the point up at the corner point. Sorry, I'm out of camera view. This was getting really big and it was really hard to keep in the camera view at this point, but I just glued it so that the points kind of meet the points here. You can see it now at the top. Looked really good. So I'm doing the same thing here with the wax and the black paint that I did in the first DIY to get a nice dark walnut color. And I'm doing a combination again of the baby wipe and the brush, just depending on where I am with the wood and what the wood feels like. And I do the exact same thing with the matched paint as well to touch up all the little areas where the stain didn't take because the glue was stopping it from doing that. And that's it. I love the way that this came out. It is so handy. It is easily, look how nice that is. And the wood glue makes it so sturdy because it can hold a ton of weight. That paint's pretty heavy when it's all up there. So you could use it like this. I'm showing you as an example. You could put your craft paints in it, but I'm actually going to use it for this. This is my kitchen counter. I keep my supplements out or I won't remember to take them. That's just the reality. My husband and I won't remember. So this looks so much neater. The little handle on the top even allows me to take it in and out of the cupboard. I'm absolutely in love with this. Oh my gosh, my friends, I love fall. How many of you out there love fall? I love fall. And I fell in love with the one to the left. I thought it was so beautiful. And well, you know, you could actually stack it on top of each other and do that exact thing, but I wanted to do something a little bit different. Maybe they could be books, except they'd all be the same size books, so I'm not sure that would work, but maybe you could still do that. But anyway, I decided to do my version of this. That was my inspiration piece. I'm going to leave it up there so you can see what I'm trying to achieve. So I paint all of these boxes white, and then I mix some orange with white paint to make a soft color. You can actually buy that color in apple barrel paint too. And then I'm using this acrylic water-based stain, which I did just recently use on my stairs, by the way. I do love that stain, but I am finding that the antiquing wax has a lot more multiple functions. So you can, I guess, use it like wax to actually do what you're supposed to do with it. And then you can also use it to stain surfaces to make it look like wood, and it adheres a little bit better. It takes a little longer to dry, but I think it looks maybe just marginally better. So then I just took a wet sponge and I'm kind of wiping it off here and there. I left it all in here so you can see how I went about doing this. There is a little icon gear, a little gear on the videos here on YouTube. You can adjust the speed to either play a video faster or slower. I usually like to speed my videos up because I move very quick, but it allows you to watch a long video really fast too, which is kind of neat. But this is what we end up with. So I just kind of distressed the edges. I loved the way this came out, you guys. I mean, I gave it away to a friend that I really love when I moved, but she might be watching. I know, no regrets, but I love this. So it is one of the things I miss. Anyway, I take a chalk pen, I take a permanent marker, I go ahead and print off those letters. I actually take a screenshot of that and I print off the letters on my printer, and then I just traced it out on carbon paper onto these boxes. And this is what we end up with right here. I thought it came up gorgeous. So the next thing I wanted to do is make it like a centerpiece, I guess. So I'm painting a pumpkin from the Dollar Tree with some Home Depot paint. They call it not boo-boo paint, but it's like if they make a mistake or someone brings a sample back or whatever, sometimes they just have them there. And I'm not sure how much they run now, but they were very cheap back then. They were like 50 cents. They probably went up a little bit because everything is going up, but they're probably still a really good deal. And then I just painted some pumpkins from the Dollar Tree into a green color, and I glued two of them together like this. And then I'm going to put the top one on the top like that. So we make kind of like a crisscross shape. I'm using the pool noodles from Dollar Tree, and I cut those. Those are brilliant for foam, like for this project. They worked perfect. You do kind of have to hold them down while the glue's drying because there is some resistance because they were once curled, but they worked so good for this project. So I just put the foam in there, and you can even make little jewelry. Look at that. That even looks like a little jewelry box. If you got smaller pool noodles or if you wrapped foam up smaller, that would make a really cute ring holder, necklace holder, like little jewelry boxes. But anyway, I fill up all of it with moss to cover up the foam, and then I just start putting florals in with the pumpkins, and it's so elegant and beautiful when I'm all done, you'll see. But I'm adding my flowers, I add pine cones, I add, I think just pine cones, pumpkin, and the little pumpkins, and that's it, and it's stunning. I love this. I would love to know what you guys think down below in the comments. For this next project, you're going to need the center of a super thick cardboard roll like you get out of foil, or maybe plastic wrap. Sometimes I get it with plastic wrap. Sometimes I even get it with parchment paper, but you need the really thick ones. So I did end up having to use a saw for that, and I show you what length I cut it into in case you want to recreate this. And I'm just taking the 3 boxes and I'm going to cover them with some white paint. Next, I took some craft sticks and I decided to cut off all of the ends so that they were completely straight, and then I covered the entire roll, I had 2 of them, with the craft sticks, so it ended up just looking like a wood piece. It came up really nice. So my son's girlfriend, it's now his wife, at the time it was his girlfriend, she really wanted to do a French country theme in her bedroom. So I'm making this for her, and I'm using the silicone molds here, and I'm just putting in hot glue. You just squirt it in and you kind of push your little tip of your glue gun down inside. You can also put them in the oven. These are oven safe to melt the glue completely to get a really good mold, or you can put them in the microwave. I've done that before. But after you're done, this is what you have. You have these nice little mold shapes that come out. And so she requested the colors, she requested the style. She wanted to use it and did end up using it on her vanity for her makeup brushes and her foundations and blushes and eyeshadows. It was really cute actually. But anyway, so I'm doing the molds here. And what I'm showing you is when you take them out, sometimes you have that little excess glue on the edge, and it's super easy to remove. You just take your scissors and snip it off like that. And if you do choose to go the hot glue route to make these little molds, I mean, you can use the epoxy now. The Dollar Tree has the epoxy. You could use clay, air dry clay. But if you choose to do this, the cuticle little clippers are great for fine details. And then you just take your glue gun and see how I'm just kind of stroking it, like floating it over really softly. It removes all the webs and the last bit of cleanup. It's really good for getting the really super fine details, but you don't have to do this. I'm just really picky because I didn't want anyone to know they were hot glue, but that's how you clean it up if you decide to go with the hot glue. Next, I'm just taking some gray, pewter gray, sorry, in apple barrel paint, and I'm going to give these a light distress. And then to start off with, for the base coat for these little accent pieces, I'm going to use this metallic paint in sterling silver and give them all 1 coat of that paint and then dry them really well. I was using Surebonder glue at the time, which advertises that it sticks to glass, wood, metal, so I felt pretty confident that this would stay. She still has it. I don't think she's using it for her makeup anymore, but she is using it for some kind of storage, so it's still staying together. And then I used it also for the center of this. So while the glue was like liquidy and hot, I rotated this around really quick to make sure from all 360 degrees that these were completely even. See how you can still make adjustments because the glue is just starting to dry, so make sure you do that. And then also If these were for me, I would have painted the inside white. She didn't want them white. She thought it would look prettier with just the wood, so I left it wood. But if you make these, of course, you can paint them white on the inside. For the second tray, I traced it on the bottom before I put it up to make sure it was in the center, and that made it a lot easier. That way I could make sure everything was lined up, you know, just, well, you can see what I'm doing, just twirling it this way with the bottom. And that's what we have so far. And by the way, this was very sturdy because those center foil rolls, those really thick ones, as you guys know, are a lot heavier than a paper towel roll. And when you put the wood on from the craft sticks with the hot glue, this was amazingly heavy and nice. But anyway, I just touched it up with a bit of copper just to distress it a little bit and give it a little bit of dimension to bring out those pretty designs. And we're all done. And again, you'll have to let me know what you think. If you're into French country decor, this is like the perfect piece. Oh my gosh, this next one came up so adorable. I literally just took one of the Dollar Tree wooden boxes and painted it red. You could also do this in reverse where you paint it white with red writing. I did it red with white writing, but it was a Christmas tray. Occasionally I put chocolate kisses in it. It was on my coffee table, and when they would run out, because I had a limit, you know, I was setting a limit for us, so we would have the tray empty sometimes, and it was just so cute empty too. It was just such a sweet little tray. So I took my stencils and I spelled out Santa cookies. You could also put Santa's cookie or whatever you want, but it came up so cute. All I did was just trace it out, because I'm not very good with stencils. For those of you that follow my channel, I didn't have that little hack yet where I could have glued the stencils down. So I traced them out because I didn't want them to go, you know, all yucky and out of the lines. And I know they say to use very little paint, like almost dry brushing. And if you have to go over it 3 or 4 times, just do it that way. But I swear I've tried that way too, and I still always get paint underneath, until I figured out you could use the glue stick. So I did try the glue stick, not the little glue stick trick I showed you at Christmas. For those of you that were watching my channel, I glued a stencil down with an actual just plain old glue stick because it's non-toxic. I didn't want my stencil to move. It worked wonderful. However, I recently tried it on a DIY and I let it dry for too long, and when I went to lift it, the paint was coming with it. So definitely it's a quick, just glue it down, do your stencil, lift it up, don't leave it for an hour like I did, and let it dry, because it does change at that point and it's not great. Anyway, I used washi tape here to do the little candy cane stripes. That's it. This tray was definitely a less is more craft. It came up so cute. For this project, I just grabbed a Dollar Tree wooden crate right there, and I am choosing the color Plaster in Waverly chalk paint. You can paint this any color you want. I just want it to be a nice, soft, creamy white color. And we're going to give this one coat because it only needs one coat with the chalk paint. You definitely don't need 2. But this would also look pretty if you had like a whitewash on it too. So if you do have a thinner paint like Apple Barrel or any acrylic paint, because they're not usually as thick as chalk paint, and you saw a little bit of wood grain through, it still will look really nice. So we're just giving it one coat on the sides, the bottom, inside, everywhere. We're just making the whole thing a nice creamy white. I chose this fabric for this DIY, and I feel like maybe it came off wrong on the press there with the colors, because it's like an aquamarine. I love the print, but it's not the right color green. It should be more like a St. Patrick's Day green. I don't know if they did that on purpose, but everything looks like when my printer doesn't have enough ink. So I was wondering if this was the way it was supposed to come out. But the fabric that I really wanted to use, that I originally had in mind, was this navy blue small check that I ended up using for a previous DIY, so I didn't have it available, but I think I am going to go back and switch this up and recover it with the other material. But for now, we're using this one, so I still want to show you my idea. You just cut a little square out here, and you're basically making a little mini pillowcase. You're just taking your hot glue and you're going to glue the bottom, the sides, and then you're going to leave just the top open so that you can put some stuffing inside it. And don't forget to do that with the outside of your fabric facing each other, so that when you turn it inside out like a little pillowcase, your seams will be nice and neat and you'll have the right side up. So I had some polyfiber fill that was like batting for quilts. It was flat, and word to the wise, it is better to leave it flat. If I had to do it again, I would just fold it on top of each other, you know, because it comes in like a flat piece, like a quilt. I would just fold it and fold it and fold it and make it really, really puffy, and then just push the whole thing inside my little mini pillowcase and glue it down, and that way I wouldn't deal with any lumps or bumps whatsoever. But we're making a little pin cushion, you guys. I don't have one, and I need one, and I don't have any pins because I didn't have a pin cushion to put my pins. So now we're all ready to go. I have a little pin cushion, and I think this is a great idea. Don't forget to go and check out my Facebook page, like it, share it with your friends. The more the merrier. It's going to be a lot of fun. And as always, until the next video, breathe deep, fret not, and do things that make you happy.